This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Wednesday, the 23rd day of January in the year 2019. Here's what we're tracking tonight. One of the suspects in last night's gunning down of security officer Kelvin Walters at McDoom has been arrested. The suspect has been identified as 25-year-old Devon Williams of All Boys Town. He was arrested at the Woodlands Hospital last evening, where he had gone to seek medical attention for a broken left pelvis. Investigators were alerted to his presence at the hospital and moved in quickly to effect the arrest. He remains on the police guard. His injuries were sustained during the execution as the security officer Kelvin Walters slammed his car into the two gunmen who were on a motorcycle as they opened fire on him. Walters was shot to his face and declared dead on arrival after being rushed to the Georgetown Hospital. His wife and young child, who were in the car with him at the time of the execution, were unhurt. According to eyewitnesses, after gunshots rang out from the two men on the motorcycle, Walters slammed his car into them, resulting in them falling onto the roadway. Both men appeared injured as they ran away from the scene, leaving the motorcycle and the firearm used in the execution behind. Investigators have since swabbed the hands of the hospitalized suspect for gunpowder residue. News source understands that the execution may be linked to the upcoming trial of three men for the grenade attack on the Kaieteur News back in 2015. The security officer who was gunned down last night was a main witness in that case. The case is expected to come up for trial soon. The suspect, Devon Williams, who was arrested last night for the execution, is believed to be a relative of one of the three men facing a high court trial for the grenade attack. The three men are Janelle Howard, Alfie Garway, and Leroy Williams. A fourth suspect has been continuously dodging arrest. It was the testimony of Walters, who was also a former member of the Guyana Defense Force, that linked the men to the grenade attack. During the preliminary inquiry, he testified that he was present when one of the accused gave the grenade to another one of the accused, with instructions to throw it at a vehicle belonging to the owner of Kaieteur News in front of the newspaper's headquarters. Police investigators probing last evening's execution are said to be looking at all angles and the possibility that the killing was a witness execution. More news coming up in just a moment.
The power of digital transformation at Canto's 35th AGM and Mini Expo. On January 27 to 30th, 2019, be at the forefront of change as we discuss transitioning to a digital region, opportunities and challenges with co-host GTT at the Marriott Hotel Guyana. Network with C-level delegates and thought leaders. Explore emerging technologies at our Mini Expo. Attend the GSMA workshop and more. Register today at www.canto.org.
Get ready to ride it, ride it. Ready to ride it, ride it, ride it, ride it, ride it, ride the wave. Open up the new vibe, drink up the boldness inside. Radical and fresh and wild. Catch the wave now. Ride bold, ride fresh, ride strong. Come on, ride the wave. Taste the action, satisfaction, perfection.
Ride the new wave of excitement sweeping Guyana. Wave Pale Ale, a premium, full-bodied, strong and refreshing alcoholic brew, crafted to perfection for a bold, young, radical you. Don't settle for anything less. Catch a Wave Pale Ale and ride it today.
Wave Pale Ale.
Crafted to perfection.
Roam like you're home, because prepaid means more with GTT. Travel to any GTT roam zone in the US, Canada, Caribbean, Latin America, or South America, and pay the same great rates to use your data from foreign as you do when you're home. With GTT, prepaid means more, so roam like you're home with GTT, Guyana's preferred roaming network.
Welcome back. Submissions and arguments in the Ram versus Attorney General no confidence case were completed today, and Chief Justice Roxanne George Wiltshire has indicated that she will hand down her decision on the 31st of January. The case was brought against the Attorney General and the Speaker of the National Assembly by Attorney Christopher Ram, asking the court to declare that the no confidence motion was properly passed and the government should resign. In court today, Ram's attorney Kamal Ramkaran argued that although the government should resign, it should still be in control in a caretaker capacity. The attorney said it is the cabinet that should resign, therefore limiting some of the major decisions of the government. He said while the president and ministers should resign from cabinet, they will maintain their government roles until the outcome of the next elections. Speaking to reporters after the submissions, the attorney Kamal Ramkaran said he believes he was able to lay out his case clearly.
Well, I'm confident that the arguments are sufficient for the decision to go my way. I don't know. The judge will rule based on what she believes the law to be.
But do you think you were able to make the case?
Well, of course I think I was able to make the case, both in my written submissions, which have preceded today's arguments, and in today's arguments.
Attorney General Senior Counsel Basil Williams, in his arguments, told the judge that a no-confidence motion was not properly passed, since he's convinced that 34 votes and not 33 would indicate a majority. Williams also argued that the Guyana Constitution does not cater for any caretaker government, and to have the government resign is asking for the country to be thrown into anarchy. Williams said governance has to continue.
Well, you heard the arguments. Mr. Nanla wasn't supposed to argue today. He was saying that he relied on the submissions of Mr. Ram. But obviously the way he jumped up is because he understood the cogent arguments that were made. But what he said hasn't changed anything. It's a simple thing. No less a person than the former president of the CCJ, in looking at our Constitution, created two categories because of the words all elected members. And the other categories that were, the other articles that were mentioned, if you check them, you see it's 2/3 of all elected members.
And the attorney for the opposition leader Anil Nandlal in his submission said that while he agrees that a country cannot be without the government should be reduced to a caretaker mode. He said the cabinet is part of the government and it is the cabinet that should resign from office. Tomorrow, the Chief Justice will hear submissions in the other two cases related to the no-confidence motion. She has committed to hand down her decision in all three matters before the end of this month. Turning now to the world of business, it was another profit-making year for Citizens Bank. However, the bank is reporting that the profits in 2018 were a bit lower than the profits in 2017. The bank announced that it made over $600 million in profits last year. At yesterday's annual general meeting, Chairman of Citizens Bank, Clifford Rees, said there were several reasons for the drop in profit.
My fellow shareholders, during the first half of the financial year 2018, the local banking system remained relatively sound in spite of the high level of non-performing loans, with commercial banks and other licensed depository financial institutions reporting higher capital and profits respectively. The consolidated average capital adequacy ratio computed at 30.6% is well above the prudential benchmark of 8%. The total loans and advances grew by 5% to $227 billion at September 30, 2018, with the credit to the private sector credit increasing by 4.8% to $226 billion.
In the coming year, the bank will still be moving ahead with major expansion. A new branch will be built and opened on Mandela Avenue, adding to the collection of branches across the country.
In keeping with our commitment to ensure that our customers and staff conduct business in an enabling environment, in fiscal 2019, the bank will commence the construction of a modern building to relocate our Thurst Park branch. During 2018, our investment in and utilization of technology not only brought about great efficiencies in the operational performance of the bank, but facilitated the upgrade or introduction of a number of technology-driven services for the benefit of our customers.
Banks DIH Limited owns a 51% stake in Citizens Bank. The government of Guyana, through its Ministry of Social Protection, has purchased 2 specialized buses for persons with special needs and has handed over those buses to the PAMS Geriatric Home and the Mahaika Children's Home. The vehicles are expected to improve the transport of elderly citizens and special needs patients. The Minister of Social Protection, Amna Ali, and her team officially handed over the minibuses, which are fully equipped with multiple lifts, seatbelts, and advanced security mechanism, yesterday. Minister Ali said her ministry will continue to provide services that are needed.
We are very happy that we can now provide this service. As you know, we have always been providing services for elderly, and this is one step further. So I want to thank my officers for the efforts they have put in to ensuring that this little program is off the ground.
The two buses were purchased at a cost of over $11 million and will also be used by other organizations that might have patients or members with special needs. Finally, tonight there is widespread protest in Venezuela against the Nicolas Maduro administration, and the protesters might now be emboldened by the decision of the US president, who announced that the US will not recognize Mr. Maduro as president. US President Donald Trump announced this afternoon that he recognizes the Venezuelan opposition leader, Juan Guaido, as the interim president. The announcement came minutes after the 35-year-old declared himself as the acting leader in Caracas today. Tens of thousands of Venezuelans are taking to the streets in protest against President Nicolas Maduro. Mr. Maduro was sworn in for a second term earlier this month, after a poll considered a sham by much of the international community. In response to Mr. Trump's recognition of the opposition leader, Mr. Maduro has given all U.S. diplomatic staff in Venezuela 72 hours to leave the country. The BBC reports this evening that Venezuela has been in an economic freefall for a number of years under Maduro's leadership. Hyperinflation and key shortages, including of food, has forced millions out of the country. Several of those fleeing the country have ventured over to Guyana. Recently, Guyana joined with the OAS in not recognizing Maduro as the president. Guyana and Venezuela continue to share testy relations over Venezuela's continuing claim of Guyana's territory. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley, reporting.